Another treatment modality that is effective for anybody that's suffering from anxiety or any sort of trauma or something that is bothering them and they can't seem to work through and past with regular talk therapy is something called EMDR. And I will say it, and it's a mouthful. It's eye movement and desensitization and reprocessing. And it is a modality that was created by someone named Francine Shapiro. She discovered one day she was out for a walk and she was anxious about something. And she noticed birds flying from one tree to the other. And as she was thinking about her anxiety and her problems, she was watching the birds with her eyes, not turning her head, just her eyes moving from right to left to right to left. And that bilateral movement is what we call it. She noticed that as she was thinking about her anxiety started to diminish. And so she got the idea of, I might be onto something here. She did some research and then came up with EMDR. And so eye movement desensitization and reprocessing is taking that traumatic event. It's not like hypnosis or anything where you're erasing memories. What it's doing is taking a maladaptive, meaning a bad thought out and replacing it with an adaptive, i.e. good thought. So if you think of a problem on a continuum, and here we are right here with our problem. This is the event, this one event that caused me to have a trigger going forward into the future. If we take that and we look back to the past, this one overarching theme has probably been present a lot longer than we thought. And it's more than likely going to continue to be present if it's not reprogrammed. So that bilateral stimulation is done through a therapist might hold up their hand and have your eyes, not your head, just your eyes would fall from left to right, left to right. Or some therapists use lights that flicker on and off. Some use tonal sounds. Some use little handheld vibrators that you hold in each hand and they pulse back and forth. You can also do tapping, or you can do stomping. With some children, we'll do jumping from one left foot to right foot as we're hopping back and forth. You can drum on a set of bongos, anything that's going to stimulate that bilateral stimulation. As you're thinking about that problem and you've already done all the pre-work to replace that, let's say, for instance, the negative thought would be, I have to be in control. I have to be in control. And so that thought is continuing and you're like, there's times in the past where I felt like I had to be in control. And there's times that are coming up in the future where I know I'm going to feel like I have to be in control. It takes that one event and processes it and then replaces it with, I will be okay even if I can give up some of that control. Part of my training when I went through EMDR, I can tell you I had to do EMDR. And I thought to myself, I don't really understand how this works. I mean, I get the science behind it, but does it actually work? And so I had my own maladaptive thought and I did the pre-work to come up with the adaptive thought. And then I realized at the end, I can't believe I thought that about myself. Like, it's like it was gone. And I remember sitting in the car and talking to my husband about it and saying, I can't believe that I thought that about myself. And we just sort of laughed about it. It works so successfully that as a therapist, I can tell you, I'm like, I can't believe that actually worked. I once had a client who was younger, and so we scribbled it out on a piece of paper. She drew a picture of how she felt when she had that negative belief and that thought, that maladaptive belief. And as we processed, we continued scribbling it out. Her pictures went from dark and like frowny faces to bright yellows and oranges and pinks and smiley faces. And I thought, is she messing with me? Like, could this really have just worked? And it did. Mom reported back that the anxiety that she was suffering, the separation anxiety, was completely gone. So EMDR, if you're getting frustrated and not able to get through normal talk therapy to solve your problems, EMDR is a great approach. And the one thing I want to say, though, if you do talk therapy with your therapist, it's important for you to know that therapy is going to be completely different. And I tell my clients, listen, like talk therapy, Jill, is not the same as EMDR therapy, Jill, because in talk therapy, you might say something, and I might say, can you tell me more about that? Or can you be a little bit more specific? With EMDR, once we do a check-in and you tell me how you're feeling, even if you say to me, I'm feeling really agitated right now, it's going to shock you, but I'm going to say, go with that. And then we're just going to keep on processing. Because after EMDR, your brain is going to continue to process. You might have strange dreams at night. You might feel tired. I usually recommend my clients to go home and rest a little bit and just report anything back the following week that came up, because some of those things on that continuum where here's the triggering event, going back this way, you might start remembering things like, oh my goodness, I remember when I was 4 years old that something like that happened. Research has proven that even in utero, a child, an infant, a fetus might have experienced something that they carry with them through life. And so some of those memories might come out.